Issue 32, Stormbringer magazine. Oh boy, do I have a story to tell you about this one. Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games, and today we're going to be doing Hachette Stormbringer magazine issue 32. Now, issue 32 was a very hard magazine to track down, mainly because I think it's going to be one of the best value magazines so far. It comes with 20 Moon Clan shooters. Now, I have an order put in at my local newsagent for this magazine every week, but there was a significant delay in issue 32 because, like many people, seeing how many kind of figures had come with it, I ordered a couple of extra ones, but I didn't even receive the one. Now, I believe the reason I didn't receive it is that this issue was so popular in Britain that Hachette simply sold out of them. I waited a couple of weeks with my newsagent and there was no sign of it, and eventually the distributor, unfortunately, I think told my newsagent a lie, saying that the magazine was never actually manufactured. I think maybe it might have been a case of Chinese whispers that the magazine was possibly never delivered, because it was obviously manufactured, given that I have it here in front of me. But when I went to check on the Hachette website itself, I noticed that the issues of 32 and 3 and 5 were delisted. Now, I contacted Hachette themselves and spoke to someone who was very, very helpful. And unfortunately, it's just that this magazine itself had simply sold out. I also sent them an email inquiring if it was possible to get one, but Hachette simply had none left because, like I said, I believe this is one of the best value magazines so far. I was luckily able to track one down via eBay, and it arrived in perfect condition. And just for people out there who, like myself, are not specifically subscribed to Hachette magazine, you might want to keep an eye on eBay for issue 32 in particular, because you get an awful lot of minis with it, and you will see why I think this was one of the most sought after issues. Anyway, I digress. Let's have a look at the issue itself. So it starts off with the grots, and it gives you a little bit of background about them, that they can be found absolutely everywhere. And like the fungus they're obsessed with, the grots, or the gloomspite gits, thrive in damp, dark caves. And once a clan of grots has claimed a cavern for its own, they're almost impossible to shift. There's a very interesting few amount of them. There is the gloomspite, the hated sun, which is basically, that's their word for the sun itself. They actually fear the sun and hide from sunlight wherever possible, which is why they're so fond of caves. You also have the Grot Patrols that are very good for ambushing people who happen to go through the caves, which, of course, this is a moonshooter clan, so they're specialists in ambushing. You have the Squig Pens, you have the bosses. Now, the bosses basically find the best spots, grow and cultivate mushrooms for themselves. You have squiggly beasts, which are also kind of companions and food, and of course the deep caverns where you can find the dreaded Troggots. You have a little bit of lore here, the Realm of Chaos issue 2, with the Varan Spear, which is at the heart of the mortal realms, which is a hellish fortress that towers over the sub-realm known as the 8 Points. And it, of course, is run by Archon the Ever-Chosen, which is basically the chosen champion of Chaos, and he has different places such as the Proving Grounds where warriors of Chaos go to test their mettle. You have, of course, the Moon Clan shooters, which is the information here, so kind of you can give boss traits and names for them. Also with some of the actual units. You have the How to Build guide, and it has 3 distinct minis: the Moon Clan Boss, the Gong Basher, and the Bad Moon Icon Bearer, along with the shooters and netters. You have the How to Paint guide, and you have a little bit of rules on wizards and the actual scenario itself, along, of course, with the War Scroll for the Moon Clan shooters, is the Swirling Darkness. Now, with no further ado, let's have a look at the actual minis themselves, and you can see why this is so popular, because this is an issue where you literally get 20 fantastic little minis, and they're very fun little ones as well. So of course this is the banner bearer, and as you can see, he's armed with a knife to defend anyone who might try and take the actual banner themselves, and you have the symbol of the Loonspike Gitz there. Now he's a unique little model, but again, very fun, very easy to paint. And one thing I noticed is that, you know, the little standard tufts of grass, I have a Morghast grass that I use. Because they're grots or goblins, they're actually a lot smaller than your typical mini, so the grass actually looks a bit longer. And in some cases, I was actually able to split the normal tuft of grass into two, so you can make your supplies stretch a little bit further. So we'll go here for the actual gong bearer, which is the next kind of unique mini here. Of course, basically he does exactly what it says in the tin. He beats the gong and sends the signals, and of course it's adorned with mushrooms here on top, which I thought was a pretty cool little thing. And here, of course, you have the actual Moonclass boss himself. So he's got a little kind of eyepiece here, and he's the only one armed with a sword and a shield, certainly in this little build guide. But one of the cool things about this little mini build guide is that you actually have a lot of alternatives. So you get 20 little bodies, and of course you have the 3 nettas. Now it's kind of the same mini with a kind of a variation in the heads. So it's not too difficult to build or to paint, but the main variation you will have with these minis will be the actual bodies and the faces. And you have, of course, 20 of the tiny little shooters. Now, they all generally kind of carry the arrows in front of them and have the bow in front of them. But there is some variances that you can kind of adjust the arm up and down, or put, again, things like Morghast grass, or you can have actual little fellas who have the arrows here in front of them. So they are, again, it's essentially the same mini over and over and over, but just with a variation in the arms and a variation in the faces. Now that said, it does give you realms for great possibility, because even though I have 20 little minis here, you also have a sprue full of lots of little extra bits and pieces. So if you want to turn them into a melee unit, you've lots of extra swords, lots of extra shields, and even have spears here. You even have some clubs, more bows and arrows. You even have a kind of an extraordinary little symbol here of the Moonclan shooters. So this is an excellent issue, because you can get basically 3 full units, 2 shooters, of spearmen, and of basically swordsmen with it. So I can see why this issue has sold out so completely all over. But again, if like myself, you're someone who's collecting this from your newsagent, it might be worth hedging your bets just to keep your collection complete, to peruse eBay to see if there is an issue flying about. And even if there isn't, I'm no doubt you can buy these boxes on their own. But if you want to keep your Hachette collection intact, certainly at the very least keep an eye out for the magazine. So that was issue 32 of Stormbringer magazine. Join us next time for issue 33. So until then, good luck, God bless, and stay safe.